There's one psychological skill that 99% of men never master: control her mind, without ever trying to control her. Most men try to convince, explain, or justify, and they lose. But the few who learn how to silently govern a woman's emotional frame become the men she thinks about when she wakes up, when she falls asleep, and when she wonders why she can't forget him. Machiavelli never wrote about seduction, but he revealed one rule that defines everything we're about to explore. He who controls perception controls power. Because what you're about to learn today can radically transform the way you approach women, power, and your entire life. Remember this: the strongest control isn't imposed, it's felt. Now let's begin. 1. Never let her fully understand you. The mystery rule. There's one law of human nature most men ignore. The more she feels she fully understands you, the faster she disconnects emotionally. Predictability kills attraction. Mystery feeds obsession. Machiavelli taught us that men value most what they cannot fully possess or control. When you allow yourself to be fully transparent too soon, with your emotions, your stories, your ambitions, you eliminate all the psychological terrain she needs to explore. And when there's nothing left to explore, her mind searches for new stimulation elsewhere. Let's set the scene if you're single. You meet a woman on social media. Most men, desperate to be seen as different, overshare. They lay out every past relationship, every trauma, every ambition, like a desperate salesman pitching his life. But you control what she sees. You reveal just enough to spark interest, but leave strategic blanks that her mind desperately wants to fill. When she probes into your past, asking about your exes or failures, you calmly respond, "My past shaped me, but it no longer controls me." Simple, firm, unshakable. Here's something you shouldn't forget. Curiosity grows where certainty is absent, and suddenly her mind races. Why won't he open up? Is he hiding heartbreak? Is he cold? Or is he just that strong? This quiet storm builds emotional tension that no amount of romantic gestures can replicate. Now imagine you're in a long-term relationship or marriage. Your woman brings up one of your recent moves at work. So, how did that deal go? Most men fall into the trap of giving her a full breakdown, seeking admiration or validation. But you stay composed and simply say, "It's handled. You'll see the results soon enough." You don't minimize her curiosity, you fuel it. She senses you're not hiding, you're leading. You don't seek approval, you govern your reality. Here's your next strategic solution. Deliberately create informational gaps. Let her imagination do the heavy lifting. Don't confuse mystery with secrecy. Mystery is selective access, because what she cannot fully grasp will haunt her thoughts far longer than what you willingly reveal. Now let's move forward. Because once you control what she knows, the next move is learning how to control what she feels without saying a single word. 2. Implant questions that obsess her mind. The seeding method. Most men try to control women by convincing them, reassuring them, or flooding them with attention. But true control doesn't come from what you explain. It comes from what you let her wonder. Machiavelli warned us with timeless precision. Whoever controls the narrative controls the throne. Because once a woman starts questioning herself about you, you no longer chase. Her own mind starts chasing for you. Picture this if you're single. You go out with her. The evening flows naturally. Laughter, connection, eye contact. She senses your presence fully, But you don't fall into the trap of texting endlessly afterward. You disappear for several hours, not as a tactic, as a way of life. You handled business. You moved forward. Meanwhile, she floods her friends with nervous questions. Did I say something wrong? Is he losing interest? Why isn't he texting? Did I misread everything? Here's something you shouldn't forget. The human mind hates unanswered questions, and the female emotional brain fills those blanks with endless imagination. Every scenario she creates only deepens her psychological investment. The more she tries to resolve the uncertainty, the more emotionally hooked she becomes. Now imagine you're married or in a long-term relationship. You have a disagreement. She expects what most women are used to receiving, an overflow of justifications, explanations, apologies. But you stay calm. You look her in the eyes and say, "Take your time. When you're ready to talk constructively, I'll be here." No defensiveness, no emotional reaction. You place the burden of emotional processing directly on her, and as hours or days pass, something powerful happens. She sits with her emotions and starts wondering, why isn't he shaken? Why is he so calm? Why doesn't he need my validation to feel secure? Here's your next psychological lever. Let tension exist. Don't rush to comfort her discomfort. Because obsession doesn't grow from peace. It grows from unresolved questions. The more you allow her mind to work in your absence, the more she spirals into emotional investment on her own. Now let's move forward. Because the next secret isn't about what you say. It's about how you dominate her emotions without ever raising your voice. 3. Delayed validation. The obsession multiplier. Nothing weakens a man's power faster than freely giving what should be rare. Because what's easy to get always becomes easy to dismiss. Machiavelli would have framed it with brutal clarity. Men esteem most what is gained with difficulty. This is why your validation must become a controlled resource, something she must constantly work to earn, never receive automatically. Let's set the scene if you're single. You're on a second date. She compliments your look. "Wow, you always dress so well." The average man would instantly return the compliment. But you simply smile, lock eyes, and reply, "You've got good taste." Effortless, unbothered, slightly ambiguous. And in that tiny gap of uncertainty, her mind ignites. Is he really into me? Why didn't he compliment me back? Is he playing hard to get? Or is he just naturally detached? Let this sink in. Every unanswered question she asks herself becomes emotional fuel she burns on your behalf. Because she's not chasing you, she's chasing her own need for confirmation. Now picture this in a marriage or long-term relationship. It's been a tense week. Unexpectedly, she prepares your favorite dinner, a clear attempt to smooth the air. Most men would instantly rush with praise. "This is amazing. You're the best." But you've mastered restraint. You savor the meal in silence, composed and present. And later, when the timing holds more weight, you say quietly, "That dinner reminded me why I chose you." This delayed validation hits deeper, because it wasn't transactional, it wasn't reactive, it was deliberate. She registers, "His approval isn't automatic. I must continue earning it." Here's your next strategic move. Turn your validation into currency. The rarer it feels, the more powerful its impact becomes. The result? You remain the emotional prize she never fully feels she's secured, and that keeps her orbiting closer. Now let's continue, because the next level isn't about what you give, it's about how you master what she fears most. Emotional unpredictability. 4. Create rare access. the psychological territory rule. A high-value man doesn't simply have a mission. He builds psychological territory that few can access. Women aren't just attracted to success. They're magnetized by what feels exclusive. Machiavelli would say it like this: people chase what is forbidden or hard to reach. Scarcity feeds desire. Now picture this as a single man. Most men try to impress women with flashy careers or gym routines. But true control isn't found in your achievements alone. It's in how you curate what she's allowed to experience. You meet her. The chemistry builds. But instead of offering full access, you create selective exposure. For example, you never explain your entire schedule. When she asks, "What's your plan this weekend?" you calmly reply, "Handling a few important things. Let's see where timing aligns." Vague, yet controlled. She senses activity. She senses motion. But she's not entitled to full visibility. This invisible boundary triggers her mind. What is he doing? Why don't I know? Who else is part of his world? And now her desire evolves. It's no longer about you. It's about earning proximity to your protected space. Let this sink in. The less a woman knows, the more she imagines. Imagination amplifies emotion. Now imagine you're married or deeply committed. Instead of broadcasting your every business plan or financial move, you protect layers of your empire. She knows you're building. She witnesses your progress. But you never hand over full governance of your mind or schedule. Even after years together, there are aspects she senses, but cannot fully penetrate. For example, you attend a private mastermind weekend, and when she asks for details, you simply say, "Important insights were shared. You'll see the impact in due time." No over-explanation. No emotional permission-seeking. This preserves a sacred masculine realm inside your leadership, one she respects because she can't fully conquer it. Here's your next strategic move. Don't just build success, build selective access. The more a woman senses you own protected mental territory, the more she competes for a seat inside your world. Now let's continue, because what we're about to cover is the final lever, the one that chains her mind permanently to your presence. 5. Silent dominance, the unseen gravity rule. Real control isn't loud. It doesn't argue. It doesn't demand submission. It simply exists, and everything around it adjusts. Machiavelli would frame it like this: the prince who rules most securely is the one whose presence demands loyalty without needing to request it. Let's set the scene. You're single. You're at an upscale event. She's with you. Another man, confident, successful, tries to spark her interest. He jokes, compliments, tests subtle boundaries. An average man would tense up. He'd place his hand around her waist. He'd lean in more. He'd try to display dominance and fail. But you stay still, unbothered. You continue your conversation with your circle. Occasionally, your eyes meet hers, nothing more. What happens next isn't logical. It's instinctual for her. He doesn't feel threatened. He must know something about himself that others don't. Why is he so calm? Why am I craving his attention even more now? That's silent dominance. It doesn't repel competition. It renders it irrelevant. Now picture this if you're married or long-term. During heated discussions with her family or close friends, emotions rise. Her parents challenge your financial decisions. Her friends question your leadership. Her siblings test your boundaries. Most men react. They defend. They debate. They prove. You stay anchored. You look them in the eye with quiet certainty, respond briefly, and shift the energy back to calm. Later, in private, you tell her, "My responsibility is to protect us, not to entertain their doubts." Your restraint sends a message louder than any argument. I'm the only center of authority here. Here's your final mastery move. Train your emotional baseline to remain unshakable. Let your stillness carry weight that words never could. In the presence of true calm, even chaos submits. Now you've seen the moves that silently control her mind. But understanding them is not enough, because true power only belongs to the man who applies them until they become his natural state. There comes a point where every man must graduate from negotiation into pure presence. A point where words lose their meaning, where explaining becomes weakness, where the only argument left is who you've become. Because true power isn't loud. It doesn't chase. It doesn't seek to be understood. It simply exists, like a mountain standing above every shifting storm. Most men drown in emotional tides. They react. They justify. They beg for reassurance. But the man who governs his own hunger watches calmly as others spiral in confusion. He is the man whose silence says everything, whose detachment ignites curiosity instead of distance, whose calm turns discomfort into obsession. When you no longer need to pull her closer, that's when she starts fearing the distance. When you stop seeking her attention, that's when your absence becomes heavy in her mind. Not because you punish, but because you no longer orbit anyone. This is not romance. This is gravity, a silent dominion that pulls without reaching, a force that bends others toward you while you remain still. Whether you're single, married, building, or rebuilding, the rule never changes. Control your center, and everything else aligns around you. Now step forward, not to pursue, but to reign. If this opened your eyes and you're serious about becoming the man who's in full control of his life, my book is now available. The Undeniable Man, Built to be Chosen. It's a strategic guide for men who want to attract, lead, and dominate in their love life and beyond. Whether you're single or in a relationship, no fluff, no tricks, just pure, powerful strategy that will set you apart from 99% of men, and that you will actually use every day. The link is in the description. And if this video spoke to you, don't just keep your thoughts in your head. Write a comment, even just a few words. It helps you remember these lessons, and it might help someone else too. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this content, and share it with someone who, in your eyes, needs it right now. Just trust your instinct. We're all trying to get clearer, more solid inside. So let's build minds that don't break.